Hello and welcome back to all 426 of you avid Pax Dei consumers and the 60% of you who have not yet hit that subscribe button. I'm Eltari, the professional gamer, and this is another PAX Friday review, the show where we talk about all of the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped for Pax Dei over the last week. This week, we are starting a new series of screenshot drops that are highlighting some of the work that playtesters in the Friends and Family Alpha have been making. We'll be taking a trip down by the river to take a look at a very cozily sat inn/mansion sat humbly along a peaceful, serene river. We will also be talking about the plot system, what we know, and what we're hoping we will learn soon about plots and how they will work for players in-game. If this is the kind of content that you find interesting, be sure to like the video and subscribe to this channel to be notified of when we post any new information about Pax Dei. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to the new screenshots. All right, so what better way to start off a screenshot review than starting with the overall picture? We're going to go through the outside architecture of this really awesome build that was just posted. Then we'll take a look at the interiors, see if there's any new information that we can gather from any of these screenshots, and just give an overall summary review on this build and what we like about it, and some of the cool new techniques in building that we see featured here. Just right off the bat, one of the best things about building games is going out and finding these unique locations that look amazing, that hopefully have an important function in terms of their location to resources, but also they have these scenic views that just look so incredible. In this particular screenshot, we can see that we have what looks to be a very steep river going down by the house that kind of then looks to pool up down in a more settled area. Hopefully, when the game is more towards release, this will definitely look a lot more like a river going down a mountainside as opposed to a river going down a flatter area and it's just tilted this way. But in terms of the architecture of this piece, we can see that we have a mixing of a couple of different build sets. First, we can see that there are these more cobblestone build sets that look like they are supporting a lot of the upper story of this piece. And then we have a mixture of this brick and mortar style build set, as well as a lot of wood features kind of carried throughout the entire build. One thing that we haven't seen yet, a home that has a chimney. This is obviously a chimney. Now, it's a very big chimney. I don't know if this chimney physically has a purpose like chimneys do in Valheim or something like that, but it's still very cool to see. And we can see a lot of this wood architecture that in spiral staircases that are moving around that we just haven't seen before in any of the screenshots, or if we did, we just didn't really notice it. But it's really cool to see what players are able to do now using these different build sets. We see that we have the wood railing and all of that, but it also definitely looks like we're working with more single unit rectangular pieces to make these spiraling staircases. We can also see it looks to be a character right there. Very cool. Very, very cool exterior of a build. Then here's another angle. We can see off on the right hand side, it looks like we have very much so a industrial section. This is probably the heart that produced everything that we see here. It looks like we have a very large furnace or something like that right here, as well as what looks to be, I think we've seen images of this before, where it's a brick kiln and a kiln or furnace. And then we have a lot of different boxes of varying kinds. We have some barrels here as well. Tanning station. What looks to be maybe another type of furnace right here. All of this is done while also very uniquely integrating in with the forest surroundings, as well as the river and it culminates in this really cool image of this kind of forested grotto. So it's really cool to see. Next, we have another angle. Additionally, here we can see how we now have this ability to place flower pots underneath our windowsills. Then we have what looks to be a hallway on the first floor, and we're looking down more towards the entrance into the Riverside mansion. Really nicely done with all of the lighting and the chairs to relax for the patrons of this inn or the owner of this mansion, whatever it may be. And we get inside, and here we can see what looks to be some type of cooking station of some sort. You can see a cauldron right there. And this looks to also be where the fireplace is. So maybe this is an indication that you're going to need to have an actual fireplace if you're going to be burning something as a stove indoors. You won't be able, it's very similar in Valheim, if any of you have played it, where you have to control where your smoke is going by building chimneys or openings in your ceilings in order to not suffocate while you're inside your home. You also see a untimely end for a bear. Now we're getting a really good look at the inside of this home. Now, one of the interesting features, two of which I can see just right off the bat here, is it looks like we have a dresser of some sort right here, as well as this cool fire lamp. And I think this is an indication that there's been an addition of some more furniture options that players can use to decorate their homes. Now, what isn't answered here is whether or not this specific piece of furniture actually has a function or if it is purely an aesthetic piece. I would say this lamp is definitely more aesthetic than a use. The only thing that it can really be used for is generating light inside of your home. But this, on the other hand, could be the storage of different pieces of equipment, or it could be the storage of materials of some sort that you can use for cooking and stuff like that inside your home. So it's cool to see that we have other furniture that's being added to the game, and it will be cool to see if we can actually use that in the future as well. Here we have another perspective of it. You can see just another angle. A lot of windows were used in this space. We can just see a lot of work was put into the framing of this house and how open it truly is. As I would imagine in medieval times, having an internally open structure is something that would be really, really hard to do using just a couple of pieces of wood. But from the looks of this, it is pretty well supported using a lot of different wood beams and structures. Now over here, it looks like we have what seems to be a tailoring room of some sort. You can see a loom as well as somewhere to process your fiber and your textiles of sorts. But then also I think this might be what looks to be either a alchemy station or a distillery station or something like that. And then what seems to be more crafting benches. And because of the light, we can't really make out exactly what these stations are, but they look familiar enough to ones that we've seen previously that I don't think it's anything necessarily new that we haven't seen before. Then here we just have an image of another unfortunate end for a bear, but also just a nice bed with some chests or table stands next to them. That is it for all of the screenshots that we got for this build. So all in all, we can see that there is a lot of work, time, and effort that have been put into this build specifically. I don't know if this is a single player or if this is multiple players that have all gone in to produce this amazing work. But if any of you are listening from the Friends and Family Alpha and you can hear what I'm saying, really job well done. This is a really nice work, a very solid build, an exciting build to see. Lots of great usage of lighting and framing and use of different textures. So all in all, really job well done. Glad to see it, and I'm excited to see all of the new builds that we're going to be getting in the future, as it seems like this is going to be a continuing series for Pax Dei in the coming weeks and months. So really nice that Mainframe is including some of their testers and featuring their work. Let me know in the comments down below what you like about this specific build and if there's anything that you would do to improve it. But now we're going to jump to another subject, and that's plots. As we can see in all of these images right here, this is a very large build. This is one of the first builds that we've seen with more of a unified image and vision for a singular build. And that's what got me thinking about plots and how plots are going to work. And I wanted to give a quick update on all of the information that we have on plots and how they're going to work in Pax Dei. So let's go ahead and get to that discussion. All right, so for this discussion, I wanted to just go over really quickly what we know about plots in Pax Dei. For those of you who are joining us and you might not know too much information about Pax Dei, it is a social sandbox MMORPG. The sandbox component of that is more of what we're talking about in this particular video when we're talking about plots. Now, plots are going to be essentially defined as a stake that you can claim of land that exists in Pax Dei, and that is the plot of land that you are essentially able to construct buildings on, place structures, and it's generally your piece of land that you get to determine what gets done with it. Now, we know that you'll be able to travel throughout the world and that you'll be able to claim a plot of land. And the devs have specifically mentioned that for all paid accounts, you will have access to at least one plot. They haven't gone into much more specifics of how many plots we have access to, but it's safe to say that the social aspect of Pax Dei is going to be related to the sandbox aspect in regards to plots. The plot system is going to work hand in hand with the social systems. And the devs have actually confirmed this in that plots, when placed near each other, will actually grow in size in a way that is more than the individual parts. We also know that you will be able to claim plots of land inside of what is known as the Heartland provinces. Now, the Heartland provinces are a PvE only zone. That means that whenever you go offline, nobody's going to be able to enter into your home, break in, destroy stuff, loot it, offline raid you, or any of that. Now, we also know that there is a PvP component of the game. We just haven't been given much information on that, so it's still yet to be revealed on whether or not plots are going to be something that can be placed in PvP zones, if they're an entirely different type of mechanic altogether, or if it's something kind of in between a completely different system and the plot system that we know to exist in the Heartland provinces. That being said, the particular build that we just looked at, to me personally, looks like it was a project that was worked on by multiple people, or it was a project that was worked on by an individual that had multiple plots, because this specific build was quite large and it had a lot of different aspects to it, but it all looked like it was done under a unified vision. So either people working together or a single person with their vision of what they wanted this build to look like, and they were able to execute it because they had access to multiple plots. This might be an indication that Mainframe is experimenting with multiple plots in game for individual players, or it's just a really good example of what players can do when they work together in game. This is a really exciting part for me, as one of the goals that I as a player have is to establish a bustling city with a bunch of my friends and all of you, and we want to create this very large, medieval accurate fantasy city that exists in game for all players to come and enjoy the various types of immersive content that we're going to be able to experience in Pax Dei. That being said, if this kind of content where we go and review other people's builds, like this build down by the river, is something that you like, be sure to like this video and let me know down in the comments what we can do better for this type of content. Speaking of down by the river, we're also going to be starting a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 as a Paragon Dark Urge. So that is kind of a little bit of polar opposites, but that's the challenge that we've given ourselves. It's so far turning out to be a very fun playthrough, so I hope you all enjoy that. It should be coming out in the next week, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you for all of the wonderful support that you have given me over the last 6 months. We're at a great milestone right now. The game was announced in February of 2023. We are now at September 1st, 2023. The channel has grown so much over that period of time, and it's only going to continue to grow as more and more people learn about Pax Dei, and they come here to learn along with all of us everything that we can with regards to this amazing game. So that all being said, thanks. I will talk to you all next week. Until next time, I'm Eltari, the professional gamer.